Hello my good students, welcome back to our War on the Sea Let's Play series as of course the Imperial Japanese Navy, and it is of course Christmas Eve, so I hope tomorrow you do all have a very good Christmas, whether you celebrate it or not. I hope you have a good time over the weekend. I hope you've used this at least as an excuse to get off of work, as you bloody well should. So, I've been writing to Father Christmas, and I think we're hoping really for a new task force, if we're very lucky, from him. Hopefully he can fit a Musashi and a few heavy cruisers in his sack, get it down our chimneys, and hopefully when we next get resupplied, we shall have a brand new surface task force, and we'll see where we want to send this actually. We'll have a look when the time comes. I think really we might want to push it down towards the Dutch East Indies and have a poke around there, but we'll have to see. Hopefully by that time we will have 300 enemy ships sunk. We're currently standing on 282. Just before recording this video I did get interrupted by some nighttime spotting and sunk 4 ships there, so that's very, very nice indeed. So let's go to the strategic map and see what we're doing today, shall we? So, hoping really today just to get to 300 sinkers finally, and hopefully we'll do that by finding a rather large allied task force that we can actually use. Once again, I've said this before, a surface group really. We're going to remove these map notes simply because we've lost sight of these two groups over here. They were retreating towards Wake Island. So we're going to carry on over here with our supply interceptors too, just scout around, have a look about, attract the airplanes from Iwo Jima and shoot those down accordingly. We do of course have Soryu over here too, as it's Unyo to shadow this group. Soryu is actually over here scouting with its zeros and such. We do have a Nagato, the sister ship Mutsu over here coming to reinforce the Guam defense group, so we can push down when we do see things coming from truck and intercept those accordingly. We do of course have Yamato itself over here, fighting force, two very nasty fighting force indeed, with the Tone and Maya, and of course Mogami backing up a Yamato. So once again the plan today, just spot, recon and strike really. No grand strategy here today. We're going to of course resupply our invasion force. Here we go, invasion support over here, but not before they unload any troops and supplies they have on there over to Keelung to help out the integrity over there. That should really help out because we are losing integrity and I don't want to really lose any bases to that. That's just not something we want to allow. It's not really a good excuse to lose any airfields or ports to integrity and lack of supplies. So having said that, we should be resupplied in 3 days time, and that is going to really be needed because we're going to draw a lot of supplies and such from Kure just to reinforce things like Truk and Guam and Saipan and such, which have been bleeding planes recently. We do have our minor resupply task force coming over here. Don't necessarily need to drop everything we have onto Peleliu over here, but we do need the engineering, absolutely. That's really the biggest ask over there at the moment. How much engineering do we have? We have a good amount there, that's absolutely fine. So, really, I think it's just time to carry on and see what we can do. Let's go. Well, 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 be careful what you wish for. Asking for a potential surface engagement, and we may well have it. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 Clevelands, is that? So that is absolutely amazing. A British light cruiser in the rear, but also a British battle cruiser in the centre of this formation here. And that is absolutely amazing there. I'm just going to double check the armour of that, as that's not a number which comes straight to my head. It will be on standard. Strangely, it is the Renown, of course. Sensors and armour, 229mm on the belt, a little more on the magazine. Not so much on the deck. Of course, you don't expect that. A lot of armour on a battle cruiser, of course. The gun calibre is, of course, 381mm. See how that compares to our Congos, because this is not too far from Iwo Jima, not too far from our Congos. And we're roughly similar, a little less on our belts, but a tad more on our magazines. And of course, we do have similar gun calibre as well. More guns in total. It's more the countless Clevelands really I'm worried about here, with their huge volume of firepower and this lovely, lovely British light cruiser here. Let's identify that properly. It does have a dual mount in the front there. Let's go to light cruisers here. Let's go and have a look. I don't believe it's the Danae, it's not the Emerald. It's looking like the Enterprise, really, especially with the funnel layout there, and that is excellent. There is only one in class. It does have 7 guns in total of 152mm caliber there, and of course it will have torpedoes of an 8km range. Very nasty indeed, this light cruiser. So let's mark that up and show you exactly where that is. Very, very nasty indeed, that. So that is actually dangerously close to our Supply and Deceptor Task Force here. And I think we're going to be rather cheeky and decide whether they want to go for that. We do have, of course, 2 heavy cruisers of our own and 2 light cruisers. And of course 2 battleships. And battle cruisers, of course. It's tempting, it's very tempting. Just double check exactly our formation there. That's not looking too bad actually. Come down this way and we'll retreat back to Iwo Jima. And if we can, you know. If we can't, not to worry there. See if we're in range to spot this group over here. Not entirely sure. We are indeed. What do we have? Is that the Pennsylvania group? It is indeed. Okay, not to worry there then. So we'll mark that up as well, and we'll see if we can track that particular task force there. And that is excellent. So that's 2 things to worry about, 2 things to think about. We will bring up the Unyo if possible. What's the distance over here? 900 kilometers. That's going to be just at the limit of our range here with some Kates. But if we do launch them, we're going to have to launch them early. So let's launch them now. Send them to Supply Deceptor 2, like that. And they can help against a battleship, and that will make me feel a lot more comfortable there. Maybe even take down a light cruiser if need be. We'll see. They do need to get in range first, and I do need to make contact with that, of course. So let's keep going, and fingers crossed we make it. Well, not quite the engagement we were expecting today, but just south of Guam, Fighting Force 2 has in fact made a catch. Catch me off guard. I was expecting this to be something else. Didn't read the message properly, so we've not launched a scout plane, unfortunately. Just a big oversight from me. But not to worry, we have some Clevelands and some destroyers. Surely an easy match for our Yamato and our heavy cruisers. So we are holding fire at the moment, just waiting for our solutions to build up, but I think we're looking okay now. We're going to go to spotting fire with some AP shells with our heavy cruisers. We're focusing a couple of heavy cruisers on the leading light cruiser, and then Yamato and Atago will be firing on the rear Cleveland there. So it's my mistake, not Atago. We will of course use our destroyers to spot the enemy destroyers over here. We will of course have to target this like so and identify it. And this is going to be where we fall down a tad, because I do not recognise British destroyers that saved my life. This is going to be an Admiralty S of some sort, I believe. Doesn't look anything like an E-class to me. So we'll give it this to begin with, see how our solution goes. That is increasing our solution, so I imagine that's close. Do have auto fire flak on our destroyers, but not on our heavy cruisers at the moment, because I do want to focus with our main battery guns and such, and our secondaries if need be, onto the Clevelands over here. We're getting very, very nice solutions as well out on these Clevelands to begin with, so hopefully that will continue. Just seeing if any shots do land. We are at 22 kilometers away, but the rate of fire from these Clevelands, you can see they will do damage if they land the shots. And with such a rate of fire, we're getting very close to that opening salvo there. Look at that. Look at that. See how the Yamato shots land. Fairly close there, but of course nowhere near close enough. Let's use this particular ship, the Naka Sendai class over here, to just identify the spotted enemy destroyers. This is a Porter. You can tell by the many amount of dual mounted guns there. Can't speak yet again. This is either a Benson or a Gleaves. Call us a Benson to begin with, and this is a Marne. We can tell by the torpedo loadouts there. And this is another Marne. Excellent. So what is the range of our Sendai here? Can we actually start firing out? We'll double check the range of our destroyers. It's around 18 kilometers for them. I imagine it'd be the same for Sendai because the caliber of gun is similar. Yeah, 19.1. Do need to get closer, but not a problem there. Let's have a look at that. See how we're doing against these. Might be an idea to start generating some smoke, really, to hinder the enemy's accuracy there. We've taken a couple hits on the Akatsuki already. What we want to do is go to max speed and actually start manoeuvring a tad. May well be helpful. We'll turn in a tad to begin with. Nothing too fancy. How are we guessing on these Clevelands? Do we have any damage just yet? Probably not. No, none at all. Rather interesting there. Their radar helping them out a hell of a lot, of course. You can see some very near misses once again on the rear Cleveland there. We may well have to approach in smoke and get into a close course engagement here, but we really do have a range advantage with the Yamato and our massive amount of heavy cruisers here, and we will start losing destroyers very, very quickly if we get much closer. So there are risks involved here. See our shots not quite getting there, even with a 99% solution we're getting to. Now we're looking on Yamato, yeah, 89 to 90-ish. Really should be hitting with these things. If we can fire out our secondaries, that would be great, but I'm not entirely sure they're in range. Okay, so due to our formation not exactly following our nav points and actually becoming a danger to themselves, we have started to actually give everyone some individual orders here just to spread out our formation. We bring most of our destroyers to the rear so that our larger ships can get closer, get some better target solutions onto the Clevelands, and hopefully start tanking the damage rather than our destroyers. Simply because of course Yamato certainly can take the damage if need be, and so can our heavy cruisers to an extent. You can see they are going for our light cruiser here. Here and there with their destroyers and such, I believe, and our Akatsuki and Nenahi especially was under fire. The Nenahi was in fact on fire, suffering fire damage. You can see over here just the concentration. That must be the Clevelands coming in for that. So we are going to try and full speed now and actually just turn and get out of there so that we're a bit further back. Yeah, and direct hit there, really not good for us. Need to get right on top of that fire. Yeah, that's not good at all. Just the AI really getting the much better accuracy over us though. We do start firing out, I think, onto these destroyers. That would really help. If we go to Akatsuki over here and start firing there, we shall remove the auto fire flak so that we can start firing on these things properly. And actually focus the destroyers there. Like so. Kazagamo should do the same. Going to start focusing on the Admiralty S over here, simply because it's the closer target. It is charging on ahead there, providing smoke cover for the rest of the formation, of course. Getting some close near misses here. This is the number 2 Cleveland. Looks like there's some damage saturation on the bow there. Let's take a report. Yeah, has taken some moderate damage. Benson and Porter, it appears they collided with each other. Rather interesting there. Having the same difficulty as us in managing their formation. That might actually be a collision with the Cleveland heading towards it there in the near future. We should really start getting some torpedoes off if possible, since they are coming towards us now. In fact, if Akatsuki could turn around and do so, that would be ideal. But we do need to be wary about hitting our Naka over here. That would be a problem for sure. We've got a very nice solution as well. Even under the smoke cover, we do have some decent solutions as well. So not doing too badly there. Are we getting on top of the fires over here? We'll have to wait just a couple of seconds, but there's starting more fires. It is spreading rather nastily indeed, of course. Not what we need at all. It's meant to be a very simple, glorious victory for the IJN. It's just not going to be the case if this keeps up. We will eventually get these Clevelands, but it's a matter of how many hits our destroyers can dodge, really. Once again, we're taking hits onto the Maya as well. We're not firing out completely, we're just reloading. Got an interesting solution there. We are trying to get closer though, and using the Tonne's massive forward firepower here, but I think we will have to turn around a tad for that. Start turning. I think we'll do a circle here just to throw the aim off a tad. And with the Akatsuki over here, I think we'll start firing out our torpedoes. Do a 2-degree spread. All torpedoes can fire out over that. So I'm hoping really, whether they go for the Admiralty or not, we should be able to get some of their ships coming in and get a decent lead on that. But do we have a decent solution on that? That's the question. Because we're not actually firing out there. Might need to turn around a tad more there. And I think what we'll do is reduce the speed of our Naka and turn around as well. With Maya, probably a good idea to get some torpedoes out as well. If we deactivate our port side torpedoes, because of course our starboard is the facing board there. We are getting some torpedoes out with the Akatsuki now. So what we're going to do is actually start moving around like so, and we'll get some torpedoes out with the Naka, and we have to be wary of our own torpedoes there, of course. We'll do so. I think we'll try and get some manuals out with our starboard side torpedoes. Never always great at aiming these things. You can see the massive lead the Akatsuki's had to take, so we will send them out in this direction, I think. See them turning there. Hopefully that's a decent angle for them. It is indeed. It's only 4 torpedoes from this particular ship. Not to worry there. Might want to get some up with Tonne as well. Do have a very nice solution there. I think we can do this actually. There's no risk of hitting our own ships at the moment with these. It is a very nice strength of the Japanese ships, so it'd be a shame to waste it. Just hoping Yamato does get in a tag closer really and get some nice hits on these Clevelands. Might need to turn around the Tonne a tad more as well. It is in formation with the Maya there. Going to increase the speed of Mogami and bring us up there. And the Shiryuki can come around here and support Yamato's rear. And there we go, we are finally firing off those torpedoes with the Tonne. It's a decent solution there, so we are now at the mercy of how well these Americans do decide to maneuver against us, whether they know the torpedoes are coming or not. Probably expecting something. And I think we should have fired them off a tad earlier, really. Like I said, it's a shame to let them go to waste. We're getting very close with our shots now, though. It is just a game of concentrating fire. I think we're getting some secondary hits here. It's looking like we must have deactivated. Yeah, look at that. It's knocked out a couple of their gun turrets here. You would imagine these front 2 main battery guns would be firing at us. It looks like these 2 secondary mounts here as well have been knocked out, which is excellent news. That is a loss of firepower they've lost out on just on that, but we will have to assume that they will be reactivated. So we're going to slow down a tad with Maya here, let the Mogami get ahead a bit. Wondering about these leads on these torpedoes, but because we have a nice spread out there, it's not looking too bad. How is the Nanahi looking after that damage? Looks like it's got on top of the fires, so we can certainly live with that. And what we're going to do is tell that to turn around as well. Are we firing out with this? No, we're not, because we're focusing on the damage control. And now it's actually the Akatsuki which is under threat there. So I think spacing out our destroyers would do a really good favour for us. And of course spacing out our ships in the northern parts of our formation here as well. And of course having these scouts is helping them as well. Should have launched scouts of my own. Have we actually got any hits on this Admiralty? No, we haven't really. Only some minor damage there. Cleveland number 2 is on heavy damage, so we are quite likely right about the damage to the turrets here. Let's have a look at its speed. If we go to our Yamato, it is still 29 knots, and I'm not confident enough in my manual fire aim to get on top of that, unfortunately. Let's make sure our secondaries are firing out with our heavy cruisers. And they will certainly help against the Clevelands. Looks like we're going to start taking hits on the Naka. Certainly need to turn around over here now, start retreating, and so we can actually fire properly onto this Admiralty. Might even want to get onto that Porter, which did take some damage previously. And that does have a lot of gun mounts on it. So the more I'm talking about that, the more I'm tempted to actually fire out on that with our Naka over here. And we'll just fire out immediately. We are on spotting fire still, because that does conserve your ammunition. It does do very well to conserve your ammunition, and of course keep a stable firing solution. We're getting very close there. Yamato is certainly doing some good work against this Cleveland here. As of course supported by the Maya. We certainly need to increase our speed now, because we're going to be sitting ducks at 15 knots. I think what we could do is pull up to support Mogami as well over there. How are we looking over here against the Admiralty? We might need to swap around our targets here, and I think that's what we're going to do. Going to actually hold off onto the Porter. I think if we'd focus on that for now with a couple of our destroyers and such, simply because we've got better firing angles on that, and because the Porter of course does have that greater amount of firepower itself, and it has taken that damage from the collision there. So I think that would be ideal, really. It looks like we're getting pretty decent shots around with the Naka there, so the solution must be fairly decent. Yeah, 92, cannot complain there. But what we can complain about is the incoming fire, so we are going to have to turn around. We are not at full speed, so let's get on that. Torpedoes over here. Looks like they're a little too far behind. I think these were in fact the manual torpedoes fired, so actually a little disappointed in that, but it's all practice. Nagato's secondaries are certainly firing as well. Just, it's the near misses, you know. Looks like we have damaged the rear gun turrets over here. They're not firing, which is excellent news. Unless they've run out of ammunition, which is very much a likelihood with the Cleavers, because I think we're getting the same here. That's the one thing about the Cleavers, they have a massive volume of firepower, but because they have a ridiculous reload time, very, very quick reload time, they do tend to run out of ammunition very quickly on their main battery guns. And that is only going to work in our favour. Taking a massive shot onto the rear over here. That's going to damage our catapult launcher. I think we're going to increase our turnover here. How's that Admiralty looking? Has he got a decent solution on that? It's difficult to tell. I think we should move this Mogami in a tad. Get a bit closer to their flank. Now I think because we know the Cleveland's main battery guns are not fully operational, we can actually start to get a tad closer with our heavy cruisers here. We're out of range with our destroyers, so we're actually going to pull up and support over here, I think. With Shirayuki and Kazagamo, we're going to form a 2-column so they can work together properly. Nenahi is out of range. I think we're fine there, and Naganami will certainly be out of range. Not even targeting anything here. It's a bit of a waste of firepower. Yeah, with the Naka we will keep on turning over here. Bring up round here. Might even want to get out our other torpedoes if possible. We do that. We'll certainly have to resupply after this battle anyway. Maybe send some things back to repair. So not one to let our torpedoes go to waste there, I think. And of course, being aimed at the Porser with a slightly lower solution than I'd like, we might even be able to hit the screening ships over here. Still no decent damage onto this number 1 Cleveland, unfortunately, but the number 2 not looking great at all, is it? Speed's still a tad too high for me though with that distance.
Have you been naughty or nice?
Well, after hitting a couple torpedoes on their destroyers there, Akatsuki did get far too close, just mismanaging that completely there. This will go down. Look at that critical damage and critical flooding. Completely lost the bow there. Very surprised you haven't suffered this magazine explosion there, unfortunately. But, you know, it's just nasty. Very, very nasty. This Cleveland we've given up on at the moment. Yeah, Admiralty S is sinking. Excellent. Excellent. Have we not spotted that? There it is. Lovely. So it looks like it's out of range of our spotting there. Cleveland might... Oh, just getting in there in time to see those shots coming. That is excellent. Depending on its speed there, we are focusing on that. Yeah, it's at 23 knots. It might take one torpedo coming here, but it looks like they're too far forward to hit us, unfortunately. Yeah, it's really slowing down now. Really slowing down. Thought we'd focus this Cleveland because it wasn't taking any damage, and it was of course threatening our destroyers and our NACA over here, which has pulled out to get on top of some damage it is sustaining itself. Won't get quite so close with the Naganavi there as we did previously. Let's target the Man over here. Which one was it that took a torpedo? Looks like could have been anything really. Let's go for Benson, I think. But we're not really in range, so it doesn't matter too much anyway. How's that Cleveland looking? Pretty much dead in the water, actually. Yeah, that really is. Let's finish it off then with some Yamato fire there. Let's hold out with that. And what we can do is retarget the number 2 Cleveland with our heavy cruisers there. Katsuki is finally going down. Unfortunate loss, absolutely. Very much an unfortunate loss. Completely mismanaged though, because we did rush it straight in after trying to maneuver it. Should have watched out really. Avoidable, certainly avoidable. We're looking okay with the Yamato, just waiting for the reload, looking good there. Moving at 4 knots, so we should be able to fire pretty much straight on top of that. 17 kilometers, we'll give that a little bit more lead then, because I'm not entirely sure of the shell travel time. And if we're all aimed up on the number 2 here, what we can do is go to Spossing and fire out with our heavy cruisers, of course. Watch this really, I think. Getting close with our secondaries. This is the Cleveland number 2 behind it there. Very close with those shots. Rather unfortunate to straddle that actually. But not to worry, we can correct our aim there now. You just hold out, we're about to fire again there. It's going at 2 knots, so we can once again, yeah, it looks like it's really slowing down to nothing there. Absolutely has, so it's at 0 speed. Let's go just a little forwards there to adjust and account for any straddle fire. How are we looking over here? Are we getting anything decent? Looking like we are. Looking like we are. Once we down the Clevelands, I think we will finally disengage. Looks like the Benson might take a torpedo there. Have to watch out on that. Oh, very unlucky once again to straddle the Cleveland there. How close is this to taking a torpedo? Could take this one. I think it might be this second torpedo here might be a little too far out. Oh, it's looking close. It's looking close. There we go. Absolutely brilliant. So it was a Man struck previously. It was the number 7 there struck by a torpedo. Was it? That's interesting. If I read that right, it was the number 7. That looks pretty pristine, really, doesn't it? Benson, though, very nasty there. Secondary fires and explosions going off there. Ideal. How's this Cleveland looking? Just readjust our aim here, I think. This way, Benson's sinking. Excellent stuff. That torpedo was really devastating, as it should be, of course. Oh, they've been some naughty allies over the holiday period, haven't they? Come to deliver them. Not coal, but some nasty rounds indeed. Not getting any bloody hits on them though, are we? Look at that. Look at that. So much straddle fire for really high solutions. Very frustrating to see. Very frustrating. This should have been a walkover. Really should have been a walkover. I think we've only really been saved here by the fact that they ran themselves out of ammunition there. How's that Cleveland looking? Critical to moderate on number 1 and heavy to heavy on 2. Readjust our aim again, I think. Just bring it a little more forwards here. So we are straddling a little behind it, I think. We're looking over here. It's not really apparent, is it? How are we looking on ammo? Not too bad on Nagato, that's a bit or Yamato rather. Not so bad on Mogami, which is under fire now. We will have to resupply though and rearm afterwards. That's just a little too far forward. Just can't quite get it right, can we here? Just can't quite get it right. Well, another bloody disappointing one, guys. We're just running so low on ammunition ourselves, and the enemy did manage to disengage. We can see we were so close to downing those Clevelands. We did destroy, of course, those 2 destroyers, but at the loss for the Katsuki there, I'm not entirely sure it's worth it, to be honest. I would have loved to have got that whole task force. I like to make sure surface engagements are decisive, really, so it's very much frustrating that we just couldn't pull that off, especially with our firepower advantage. Really, really frustrating indeed. But we are going to have to go over to truck and resupply, unfortunately, that group. We do have the supplies over there to do so, so that should be absolutely fine. And unfortunately, guys, I do think it's going to be another quick one again today, but that is all we have time for. I hope you have a good Christmas period, and I hope you have enjoyed the video today. And I shall be back once again on Monday with the continuation of War on the Sea. And we can see we do still have a lot of supply ships to deal with. They're getting closer and closer. We just need some more supply interceptor groups, I think, some minor raiding groups and such to deal with these, because sending planes after them just isn't doing the job, of course. But that's a matter for the future, I think. Once again, thank you for watching, and I hope all of your nights and days are auspicious. Merry Christmas and goodbye.